It's Rosalie Reinke who authored this whole proposal.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to call our Common Council meeting to order. It's a special Wednesday edition of the Common Council. I will start by asking our clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Grisham. Here. Haas.
Here.
Keen.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
Reinke.
Here.
Rote.
Here.
Stefanski.
Here.
Tenorio.
Here.
10 present.
We have a quorum. Please rise if you are able and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led this evening by Alderman Vince Vitale. Before we go into the public hearings this evening, I'm just going to ask everybody or remind everybody to speak loudly when you are speaking into your microphone so everybody can hear you, and possibly take your mask off if you're comfortable with that as well, just so we can make sure that everybody can hear what's being said. So moving on to public hearings, item D, we have 5 items this evening. I'll ask the clerk to read public hearing number 1.
2021 City of West Allis Mayor's Recommended Budget.
Ms. Grill.
And, thank you. I'll put on the city administrator hat now. And Chris Moan and I are here. She's our interim finance director. We're here to present on the mayor's 2021 recommended budget. We do have a presentation here that we would go through, and then if there's any questions after that, we could take them at that time. The first slide shows a little bit about the demographics of the city of West Allis. The current one, we have almost 60,000 people, and the median income is about 50,000. 62% of the people are white collar, 23 blue collar, and then 16% services. And then the median income, disposable income, is about 40,000. This shows a little bit more about the community in regards to the education, and then what age they are. So we have quite a few of millennials, and the most ages we have are between the ages of 18 and 65. The population for the city of West Allis has been going down since 2012. This graph is a little misleading because there's not too much between each of the levels. So I believe from 2019 to 2020, it was about 320 people, the estimate was. But the census is coming up next year, so the population estimates might change for that because of that. The city has a vision statement that's been adopted here. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's basically that we're going to make this a preferred municipality in the area by providing efficient, effective services. And then we have a mission statement, and that coincides with the vision statement, again, with the effective services and providing for the health, safety, and welfare of the community. The council adopted a strategic plan in 2017. It will expire in 2021, so that will be one of the things we would like to focus on in 2021, looking at those. But this plan has 5 goals: image, brand, destination, quality of life, citizen engagement, economic vitality and sustainability, and then excellence in government. So the budget is made up of actions and items that relate to each of these goals. And we have them, the priorities listed by goal here. Some of the high-level things are we're implementing a new online permitting and licensing software so that people can basically access our services 24/7 instead of having to come in and fill out paper forms. In my opinion, long overdue. Also, we're focusing on residential main streets, artscapes, and murals. The city put in a number of murals through the Artscape program this year. We want to build on that going forward. Also work on improving the maintenance, be more preventative for our parks, and then trying to work on replicating what we had success for in the Burnham Block area, and then coming up with a long-term strategic plan for economic development. And under the quality of life, the proposals, we worked with the school district to have another resource officer. This one will be located at Lane. Collaboration between departments to work on nuisance and rental properties, updating our 10-year comprehensive plan, work group to provide a long-term plan for the delivery of senior services, and then have another work group to explore collaboration of service delivery between the health and fire departments. For citizen engagement and for the budget priorities for this, we're working more on feedback surveys. This was a goal for 2020. A lot of things were pushed to the back burner because of the COVID initiative or the pandemic that we were dealing with. Also focusing on growing more of the neighborhood associations, bilingual communications and outreach, and then there's a proposal to create a neighborhood improvement and community engagement program, and then also have digital ambassadors through our social media channels. The fourth strategic plan is economic vitality and sustainability. The budget proposes creation of 3 programs from the previous development department: economic development, planning and zoning, neighborhood improvement, and community engagement programs. Continuing to implement the structural deficit recommendations throughout the past year. There was a number of city staff and people from the community that came up with ideas solicited from employees and things, and ranked those as far as how we could mitigate the structural deficit that we continue to have because of the budget limitations we have. Mostly because we're very reliant on property taxes in the state of Wisconsin, and then we also have other limitations from the state. Working more on developing more large-scale developments. We've had a lot of success with those, and we'd like to continue that success going forward. Creating an organizational-wide risk management program, and building on our current emergency government. We've had a lot of experience with that this year, so it'll be a little easier to put things into place there. Working on having an electronic parking system, and then creating a Friends of West Allis Parks to help us fund and move forward with the parks. And lastly, the excellence in government priorities, the 24/7 access. I mentioned that before with the permitting software, improved service delivery for business and citizens by providing those things online, but also streamlining a lot of processes. We have a lot of, people have to go through a lot of departments and a lot of processes, and if we can streamline that and bring it into maybe 1 or 2, that is very helpful for people opening businesses or doing improvements in the city. Aligning more of our services to the current priorities. Because of the limited resources, we do need each year, if there's new priorities, we need to move around people or programs to accomplish those priorities. We aren't able to grow new things, we just have to kind of move things around. So improve our community engagement and service delivery to vulnerable populations. The collaboration and movement of employees, that goes with the realignment. Working on recruiting and retention of our high quality employees. Focusing on diversity and inclusion for our employees. And then, as I mentioned before, relooking at our strategic plan. The challenges that we face this year and every year are the taxpayers' financial limitations, expenditure restraint program. I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. The recruiting and retention of high-quality employees, our facilities repairs and maintenance, our roads, sewer, and streetlight repairs, and then also levy limits. So the expenditure restraint program is something that the state provides. They will provide you with an amount of money if you stay within a certain level of increase from year to year with your budget. Our current estimate is a 1.3 million limit, so our budget from 2020 cannot go to 2021 cannot go up more than $1.3 million. And if we abide by that, we would get $1.59 million. So if we don't get the expenditure restraint, we would have to actually make up more than $3 million, and that would be a significant impact on the taxpayers. So we're still working on the numbers for the final number from the estimate. I think it was 1.3 or 1.2, I can't. We just recently got it. So we'll have that information on Monday when we have the Administration and Finance Committee. So the 2021 budget that was passed by the council last year is $62,698,500. The 2021 recommended budget is $64,051,114. So that's based on the estimates that we limited the increase based on the estimates for the expenditure restraint. One of the other challenges I mentioned is the personnel. People are expensive. I think 85 to 86% of our budget goes to salaries and benefits for the employees. We have 665 positions. 560 of them are benefited. We did reduce that number from 573 in the 2020 budget through a variety of combining positions, but also implementing a reduction in workforce initiative, essentially an early retirement program for certain staff members. Most of our funding for our positions is through the general fund budget. We do have about 50 that are funded through other sources like grants and the like. So for 2020, the salaries are in the general fund budget are $34.4 million. 2021, we're going up to over $35 million. It's an increase of 1.9%. Our health and dental for active employees is almost $10 million. There was actually a minimal increase. A lot of other, we're hoping we can maintain this increase when we finalize the rates, but it's much less than the standards of like 5 to 8% increases. Retiree benefits, we spend about $1.2 million from the general fund on this. We are going up a little this year to help with a reduction in workforce program. And this is the allocation by different functions. Our budget is broken down into public safety, engineering and public works, general government, and health, recreation, and culture. And then, so you can see half of the budget goes to public safety. And the levy limits are explained here. This is a little less impactful for us, but they're just explained here. If you go above this, you lose the shared revenue from the state. So we receive a lot of different revenues, but the majority of the revenues we receive are from the citizens' taxes. So that's almost at 62%. Wisconsin is different than a lot of other states because of that. Most other have different revenue sources than just property taxes. These are the different revenues explained here. We do get intergovernmental aids, and then license and permit fees and penalties and forfeitures and a few miscellaneous things, but the taxes are the largest portion. And then the expenditures, the majority of our expenditures go to public safety, over 56%, and then the other ones are broken down. The next one would be at 19%. And these are the different departments that are in each of those categories. We have other expenditures in other accounts. We have tourism, we have community development block grants, capital projects, and then different enterprise funds and internal services. This is the overall fact sheet of the recommended 2021 budget. It's an increase of 2.16%. The estimate change for a $150,000 home is about $50 for the city's portion of the taxes. And that's an estimate. Just want to say that a few times. Could change. It's an estimate on what we know right now. And this is some background on levy limits and tax rates. Did you want to talk about this?
Sure. Sorry. Just to make some general comments about this, I think it's kind of the one-page summary kind of snapshot of what's been happening in the city's budget over several years. So you can see the impact of things like expenditure restraint. If you look in that first column of general fund, you know, the city is required to have a balanced budget. So that's the total expenditures in each of those years going back to 2013. So you can see, you know, from 2013 to 2014, we were allowed an expenditure restraint increase of only $700,000. Again, so much of our budget is really driven by that expenditure restraint calculation, which is based on CPI and value growth in the city. So that's really kind of the driving force behind our budget. So you can see in some of the early years on that first column of this slide how, you know, there was even from 15 to 16, that increase was around $400,000. Those get to be really tight budgets and really hard budgets to balance. We've had a little bit of relief from that expenditure restraint standpoint in the last couple of years where we've had kind of manageable increases. And you see that, you know, in the bigger growth on the expense side. The impact that has on the levy, of course, you know, there's other revenues that can sometimes come into play and offset years where we have larger expenditure increases. If we can find new revenues, you know, we can mitigate the tax levy impact. So you'll see again how things have, you know, just varied for the last several years. Everybody always asks about tax rate, and again, we're still working through the numbers with final assessed values, but you can see, again, $4 million of assessed value in 2013. Just as the economy goes, that value kind of goes up and down. You know, it's climbing back to that. Well, it's not 4 million. But you see where I guess my point. The only caution I would give you on that is you'll see the tax rate impact. So especially in those early years on the slide, there was very little impact on the tax rate. Some of that is, you know, it's a function of what values are doing along with what expenses are doing. So I know everybody wants to see the tax rate impact. It's just from a budget standpoint, we control the levy. We don't always control the value, and the tax rate is just a function of that. So Sorry.
So just a little bit of information on the next steps in this process. The Administration and Finance Committee is scheduled to meet next Monday at 6 o'clock to talk over budget amendments, and if there's any other questions about the recommended budget, then we'll work on calculating the proposed tax rate, and then the plan would be to have the council consider the budget on November 17th. That's all we have, if there's any questions.
Thank you very much. I know the council has seen this presentation before, but I do want to give them a chance to ask any questions if they have any at this point. Okay, seeing none, is there anybody in the audience that has questions on item number 1 this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will close our first public hearing. And I will ask our clerk from afar to
Okay.
read public hearing number 2.
Resolution relative to determination of an application for a special use permit for 414 Brewing Company, a proposed brew pub to be located at 6749, 6751 West National Avenue.
Thank you. Mr. Scher, when you're ready.
Thank you. Hearing number 2 this evening involves roughly a little over an acre of land on 67th and National. The lands in this area are part of the 68th and Mitchell redevelopment area. Formerly a tool and die shop of about 10,000 square feet, situated in a little over an acre of land, including 2 properties, one fronting National Avenue and the other with the building on it a little further back. This will be coming before the Community Development Authority on November 10th, relative to the disposition of land or the sale of land to a brewing company that would also include a tap room. So we'll get into the zoning portion of it next. But so this, as city-owned property under the authority of the CDA, redeveloping this land for a brewery with a tap room would make the property taxable. It would bring it into alignment with the future redevelopment goals and plan for this area, and the city would no longer have to maintain the lot. So this is the redevelopment area, 68th and Mitchell redevelopment area. The area of the proposed brewery is up here. That was what we were looking at in the previous slide. And as many of you know, but maybe for the benefit of the viewing audience, this area is prime location near the 6 Points redevelopment area, as well as within the 68th and Mitchell redevelopment area, which has seen a lot of growth over the past few years. More recently, at 68th and Mitchell is the development under construction right now of a new hospital, roughly about $30 million. And then just to the north and east is the west apartment living, and then to the west is of the actual site here is property number 3 here, which is 6771 National Avenue, and the city's exploring redevelopment of that property. It's a historic property, formerly the Kearney and Trecker factory shop building. So there's quite a bit of activity going on with this area, and so the proximity of this brewery offering within the city and redevelopment area is prime location. So back to the proposed use. The zoning of this area is M1, light manufacturing. Again, the existing building is about 10,000 square feet on about 1.3 acres of land in total, including the 2 properties. The proposal before us is for a brewery and tap room. 7,000 square foot, or about 70% of the building would be tap room, and then 3,000 square feet as a brewery. Special uses within the M1 district, microbreweries are considered special or conditional uses. So that's the purpose of of having the hearing tonight and getting the notice out to the neighborhood and having this meeting. So looking closer at the operations, the initial offering that the brewery would have would be about 1,300 barrels annually, and that would expand to potentially 2,300 barrels. And then from there, you know, as they move on and become hopefully wildly successful, it could grow from that point on to closer to 5,000 barrels annually. They would also have can and bottle options, and also offer regional distribution from this site. They would have initially 12 full-time employees, and that could grow to about 20 persons over 3 years. Their main focus, though, is for the sale of beer on site, you know, from the tap room, and then they would also offer their property to food trucks and other local food vendors who could bring in food. So their focus is going to be on the beer, not necessarily a kitchen for producing food or, you know, making food on the site. It would be brought in from elsewhere. Typically, the typical variety would be via food truck, which would be located on site here. The brewery hours would be 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then the tap room would be a 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. Monday through Sunday for both of those activities, basically daily, 7 days a week. Some images of Brewery Somewhere, USA. There's not a name yet for the brewery. They're working on a name, but the floor plans we show here, the blue area is the tap room, which would include, you know, a bar area. There would also be coolers behind the bar area, an office area, an event space here, and then as well as general seating within the overall hall, restrooms, and then a smaller lounge over here on the northwest side. The brewery area in gold here is on the east side of the site. The deliveries and trucking operations for distribution would be coming in on the back side here. This is a closer look at the front yard area, which is about a 0.3 acre lot currently. This is National Avenue on the top part of the screen here, and then you'd have everything from, you know, the cornhole bag toss courts here, potential fire pits, a bocce ball area, 2 volleyball courts, which would feature perimeter netting to prevent balls from going astray. And then there'd also be an outdoor patio outside. So there's not only an indoor tap room offering, but also some outdoor activities too, again, to sort of captivate the local neighborhood and bring people in from, you know, the surrounding development that's some of which is already underway. Externally, the existing building consists of some metal panels and cement block. That would all change. So the color, the exterior color, and materials that would be added to the building would include some decorative trellises around various portions of the building. So those darker gray areas here, they're kind of hard to see. There'd be new windows punched into the facade on both the north elevation as well as the south elevation, some of which are existing garage doors, which would be, the doors themselves would be replaced with a glass panelized garage door. You may have seen some of those that open up in the summer months, and people can come in and out of the tap room area to the outdoor patio area and vice versa. There'd also be some kind of eclectic mix of different types of metal, decorative metal on the exterior of the building, different shades of gray to accent portions of the building and give it some life over and above what it currently looks like. Just a closer view of the concept at this point. This is the netting around the volleyball courts, and these are some athletic directional lights that would be focused upon the court, and there would also be some lower lights for the patio area, as well as you know, seating areas in this area here outside. This is an artistic rendering of what it would look like from National Avenue, looking south. And some other views looking west from the railroad spur, which runs along the east side of the site, and then looking north, looking southeast from National Avenue. As mentioned before, some of the different things here outside within the outdoor area in front, the volleyball, bocce ball, and then the building itself. There would be parking along the both south of the building and on the west side of the building, one of the planning recommendations from the Planning Commission was to realign this driveway here a little bit to the west to straddle the property line with the other city-owned property to the west, and then push this parking out to line up with the west side of the building, just for a more seamless and direct route through the site. There are 48 parking stalls required by the zoning ordinance. There's at least 52 proposed on the site right now. And with future development of the area to come, there is opportunity for additional shared parking to the south of this property, which is another city-owned or CDE-owned lot. As mentioned, some of the Planning Commission, some of the highlights of the Planning Commission recommendation on October 28th were, again, to realign the driveway, which is over here, a little bit to the west, to straddle the property line here. And that sets up not only the realignment of this parking, which could be pushed a little further west here, but it does create a drive aisle north and south from National Avenue south down to Mitchell Street, potentially. And then it would also potentially access a future shared parking lot here. I mean, that's the concept at this point. But the site parking itself could be changed from either, it could be angled, but it could also be 90 degree. There's some different options to take a look at that we're working with them on. But there's also pedestrian walkways from National Avenue on the east side of the site between the rail spur and the use itself. And then also some recommended walkways that would come into the site here in front of the parking area and alongside the building. And again, sort of taking a look at a future here, speculating with a future development here to the west and a future development here to the east to try to create some pedestrian walkways, not only from the city sidewalk along National Avenue, but through the site, east and west, again, to promote the linkage, pedestrian linkage, and, ability to walk versus driving a car from this site to this site to this site, and so on. One of the other things we're going to be working on is coordination with We Energies and the development team here on potentially relocating some of the overhead wires underground. It does come at a cost, but it's something that we're going to be exploring with them. And then also combining the two lots into one property. As you recall, there's a lot here and another lot here with the building on it. We want to combine those into one, and then potentially rezone it to commercial. So the Planning Commission had looked at this on October 28th and recommended approval. There have been no objections to date, and that concludes my presentation of this second hearing.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the Common Council on this item?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel?
Steve, because this is a brewery, do they need an beverage alcohol license from the city of West Allis?
They will need one through the state, and that would be a brewer's license, which would be through the Department of Revenue. Mm-hmm. So as I understand it, there would not be one needed through locally. I mean, I can certainly look into that a little bit more, but my understanding is it would be a brewer's license through the state.
And so they would only be serving beer, no wine, no other alcohol?
Beer will be the focus, yes.
Okay, focus, or they wouldn't be allowed to serve? If they have a brewer's license,
yeah, the focus would be brewing beer. If there's something else, I guess, I don't think that was explained in the application we received. So I would say the focus is going to be beer. We do have the applicants here, which maybe could address.
And maybe their plans evolve over time. I understand that.
Sure.
I just wanted to understand what we're certainly not committing to a liquor license for this address with this public hearing or even the beginning of this, I believe. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. This would be, I guess, a license through the state, a brewer's license through the state.
The brewer's license is issued by the state. And also to the food service, no restaurant, if they wanted to add their own commercial kitchen in the future, that restaurant would be a special use, and there'll be an amendment to this, and they'd have to come back to us for that?
That would likely come back because, I mean, I think their licensor may change as well from a brewer to a brew pub.
Brew pub.
I mean, there are some distinctions there, which I'm no expert on, but I mean, yeah, that would likely come back as a future special use.
I think we do have an expert standing at the microphone, the city attorney.
So just to clarify on that, my understanding is they're only seeking a brewery license right now, a brewer's permit through the state DOR. They could come back on a later date, but it would always be a separate decision, separately considered with its own conditions. And even then, we're entirely outside of the process the DOR follows, so this is solely for the purposes of zoning.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the Common Council? Seeing none, are there any members of the audience that have questions on public hearing number 2? All right, seeing none, that will conclude public hearing number 2, and I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 3.
Resolution relative to determination of an application for a special use permit for Graphics Group, a proposed manufacturing printing use to be located at 2213 South 54th Street.
Thank you, Mayor. Graphics is an existing business. It's been in business for roughly 36 years. They've been located, I think most of that time, in the village of West Milwaukee, off of Burnham Street. They've since been displaced from that location and have purchased and have searched and found a place, a home in West Allis at 2213 South 54th Street, basically 54th and Mobile Street, between Electric and Mobile. The property consists of a 13,000 square foot building. It's zoned to M1 light manufacturing. And while there's two distinctions, I guess, of print shops in our zoning code. There's a commercial printing type of use, and there's a manufacturing printing. This qualifies as the manufacturing printing use, so it does require a special use. And basically relies a little bit more upon trucking and distribution, more corporate types of jobs versus the walk-in, I need a yard sign or a banner type of printing company. So they're going to be starting their business here at 2213 54th. Again, it is a non-retail printing company. The hours of operation are generally business hours between 8:30 and 5 p.m. They have 5 full-time employees, and they have about 1 to 2 paper deliveries per week, which is the intensity to expect. So it's by no means a Quad Graphics or anything like that. This is it's still a small printing company, albeit a manufacturing printer. Vehicles will be parked on the site. All employees will park on the property, and they're going to be doing some improvements to the site. We'll get into some of those in the next slide or two. But all business traffic is going to be during business hours. We're not expecting any early morning or late night types of deliveries or things like that. So it should work well with the surrounding neighborhood, most of which to the east and to the north and to the south is light industrial. To the west, it is a combination of single family, RB2 single family and 2-family housing. These are the first and second floors. The first floor is a portion of it is unexcavated, but they have offices and shops. They're going to be repurposing some of the existing floor areas within the building to fit their needs. The second floor is where more of the printing portion of the business is going to be taking place, and some additional storage options within that 8,000 square feet. Again, getting back to some of the improvements, the parking lot back here, as you can see, from a year, probably 2 years of just sitting empty. There hasn't been a lot of maintenance over that term of vacancy, and the prior owner wasn't really making too many changes either. So, the Graphics is going to be cleaning this up over the next year or two to sort of bring this up to speed, repaving it, resurfacing it, making it look better, removing all the the weeds and fresh new surface over the top in this rear parking area here. Along the front terrace, between the curb and sidewalk, this area would be replaced with either grass or a concrete to give that a cleaned up appearance. And then they're also proposing to do some exterior structural tweaks to the front, side, rear of the building, tuck pointing, repainting the building in earth and tone, again, just to give it a fresh new appearance and along with the new business. So Planning Commission has reviewed the site landscape and architectural plans on October 28th, has recommended approval. We've received no objections to date. And
Thank you.
3.
Any questions from the Common Council on public hearing number 3? Seeing none, are there any members of the audience with questions on public hearing number 3? Okay, seeing none, we will close our third public hearing, and I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 4.
Resolution relative to determination of an application for a special use permit for a proposed mixed residential and commercial use located at 8825-8833 West National Avenue.
Thank you. Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a was an existing mixed-use property on 89th and National Avenue, formerly Wisconsin Pool Supply, billiard supply, and that's the current condition of the building. The previous owner has put it up for sale. A new property owner has come in and purchased the building. Their interest is to reestablish the building after some time of vacancy as a mixed use. There's 2 existing apartments upstairs and then another 2 on the ground floor, you can see back here, behind the commercial portion of the business, which fronts National Avenue. It will be managed by family members who live on site. Within that commercial space on the ground floor, they want to develop a small ethnic grocery store of about 1,300, almost 1,400 square feet. Would include some merchandising shelves, cashier counter, some coolers along the east wall. So the blue area here is the commercial portion of the building, and then the purple area back here is an existing first floor apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment. Up above the, actually back here, up above the first floor is another apartment building, a 2-bedroom apartment. And the new owners are proposing substantial exterior improvements to the building just to clean it up, make it look lived in versus vacant. And there's quite a bit of exterior maintenance, painting, trim work, tuck pointing, structural things on the back side of the building. There's a swimming pool behind the building that they're talking about removing. There's actually an in-ground swimming pool back here that's going to come out. Some existing fencing that's going to go away. Some lean-to overhanging porches and or canopies and columns that are going to be coming off the building. New windows, some new doors, infilling of some brick garage doors on the building, and then repaving the parking behind the building to accommodate roughly a little more than 8 parking stalls behind the property. The remaining areas would be these would remain grass areas here and here and here, and then there'd be some new landscaping added along not only National Avenue but also along 88th or 89th Street. On the exterior of the building, they're talking about basically scraping, cleaning up the exterior of the building, removing a metal panel that runs along the facade of the building on the north elevation, and removing the existing signage, and then bringing it back down to the original stone or brick that's underneath that, and then just more or less cleaning up the exterior. The windows on the front of the building are in pretty good shape. There may be some things here that are going to get cleaned up, but overall it's a general exterior site and building cleanup to bring in a new family-owned business and 2 apartments. Planning Commission has recommended approval, and we've received no objections to date.
Thank you. Do any members of the Common Council have questions on this public hearing?
Mayor Devine. Oh,
That was a tie. I'm going to give it to the Alderwoman Grisham first.
okay. Steve, I had a couple questions for you. As it's an apartment building and there's only 8 stalls available, I would assume that would go to tenants living or residing in the building. Having it be a grocery store, this is 2 questions I have for you. How will that be accommodated with parking for them? And secondly, the second question would be, if they're looking to have a small mini mart, so to speak, or a small grocery store, are they looking to sell liquor out of that as well?
Okay. Sure. On the first question, the property actually is required to have 8 parking stalls, and they'll be able to provide at least 8, maybe 9. Again, depending on that previous layout here, but so it will meet the zoning requirement for 8 parking stalls at a minimum. So they'll have that. That'll accommodate both residential units as well as the commercial. So I would expect that customers that come to the site are probably not likely to park behind the building. They'll more likely park on 89th Street or perhaps even National Avenue. I think there's a 2-hour parking here along this portion of National. Although I got to take a look at that because now we've got a reconfigured street in this portion, but I believe there is 2-hour parking here. On the second question, with respect to the liquor license, they have not applied for a liquor license. I guess they're not asking for one at this point. It's going to be focused just on the groceries itself. No alcohol at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Alderman Rote?
Broke my rhythm, but, Steve, I don't even know if the applicant's here or not, but I'm going to
Yeah.
touch on what Alderman Grisham said. This applicant called me about a month ago wanting to do a liquor store. So it's there.
No doubt, they certainly probably could come back and apply for one.
I don't see it on here, and I get that.
Right. Yeah, we had asked them, initially they had indicated they were going to do a liquor store with groceries, and then they said, no, we're not going to do one. So, I mean, could they come back and apply? Sure, they could. That could be before the council at some point in the future if they apply. But as of right now, I mean, they're indicating not.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick?
the applicant called me as well and expressed the same desire to put a liquor store in there, and I was very blunt with them and told them that I would not support a liquor store going in that location.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the council? Seeing none, is there anybody in the audience that has questions on public hearing number 4? Okay, we will close public hearing number 4, and we will move on to our 5th and final public hearing. I'll ask the clerk to read that one out, please.
Resolution relative to determination of an application for a special use permit for Bamboo, a proposed tea and coffee shop to be located at 10708 West Oklahoma Avenue.
Mr. Scher.
Thank you, Mayor. The Bamboo Coffee and Tea Shop is going to be within the Oak Ridge Shopping Center at 108th and Oklahoma Avenue. Property is zoned C4 commercial, and as I guess we call it generally a restaurant. It's more of a cafe. It is considered a special use under our zoning ordinance. So they're going to be open daily, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., 3 employees, and most of the business is going to be carry out, but they would have some basic area to hang out and sit and enjoy a tea or a juice or smoothie. I think they have a pandan waffle and a French macaroon. So they have a lot of different offerings. So it's an interesting use and located within about 1,000 square foot portion of the Oak Ridge Center here. And this is just a general concept of the floor area that they're working within. There's on the front of the building here, the storefront entrances, and the back of house here for some office storage, restroom facilities. They will be adding a new public restroom within the space, and again, it's just doing some primarily interior updates, no exterior changes other than perhaps signage down the road. So, Plan Commission has recommended approval, and to date, I've received no objections.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the Common Council on public hearing number 5? Seeing none, are there any questions from the members of the audience on public hearing number 5? All right. Seeing none, that will conclude our public hearings. And we will move on to item E on our agendas, which is citizen participation. This is the opportunity for the council to receive information from members of the public during this 30-minute period. We ask that you limit your comments to one statement of no more than 5 minutes. The council cannot take action on any topics raised and cannot discuss with the speakers because what you bring up may not be on the agenda and could violate the open meetings law. Does anybody wish to address the council under citizen participation this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will close our citizen participation portion, and we will move on to item F. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess. Those room numbers are listed on page 2 of your agendas. Item G, the the mayor's report, I just want to briefly take a minute to thank everybody that worked our polls, that worked our early voting, that worked our drive-through voting, that counted ballots. I want to thank our city administrator / clerk, Rebecca Grill, for all of her work, and Gina Gresh, who was our election specialist. And I don't want to go into too many more names because I'll forget people, but I know a few people, other people in this room were very instrumental in pulling this off smoothly. We had an incredible turnout that was up from the 2016 presidential election, and I'm really just proud of how everything was handled with integrity and safety, and it just really went about as well as it could. So it was complemented yesterday by a 68-degree weather when people waiting in line, but just very happy with that and how it all worked, and I want to thank everybody. I think that does conclude the mayor's report this evening. I should actually just mention, I'm sorry, that does not conclude the mayor's report. I just want to congratulate Josh Truchon from Nathan Hale. He was state champ in cross country, and I'm hoping to see if he'll visit us at our next council meeting, and we'll honor him appropriately at the request of Alderman Rowe, who mentioned that to me over the weekend. It seemed like a good idea. So that now does conclude the mayor's report, and we will move to item H. Do we have any reports from the alderpersons this evening?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
You thank the staff and everybody that helped from this side of the election. I want to thank the citizens of West Allis. Their turnout for a very fought-over election, the presidential election. Also, your patience. We had record turnout. I understand the lines exceeded 2 hours at times at polling places. I want to thank everybody. From what I understand, I have not heard reports of any problems anywhere in the lines. I know I've taken a couple calls with concerns about the length of the lines, and I can assure you that we certainly noticed it, and I will say that we will do everything we can do to make sure that this kind of thing does not happen again. 2 hours is a very long time. Again, I stood in line for an hour and 25 minutes, and that's fine. People were cordial and all that. The weather helped. The weather helped with turnout, and the weather helped with patience in line. But again, thank you to the citizens of West Allis for coming out and voting and being patient with us.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Are there any other reports from the alderpersons?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Tenorio?
I just want to echo those sentiments. I stopped by West Allis City Hall yesterday to check out Central Count and to see how everything was going, and I was really impressed with our team. So thank you so much, Rebecca, Gina, Ed, also, and many other staff members. We have dedicated city staff and public servants and poll workers. I know, like with COVID-19, with the incredible influx of absentee ballots, thank you to the citizens for learning how to vote via absentee and for being patient in line. I'm really impressed with how we're able to run a fair, free, and safe election here in West Allis. So thank you to all of West Allis for a great election.
Thank you. Any other reports from the alderpersons? Okay.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick.
I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council meeting of October 20th, 2020.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Were there any changes to the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Items not referred to committee, I'll ask for a motion to place items 7 and 8 on file.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Alderperson Keene, second by Alderperson Reinke. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We
Mayor
have
Devine.
no standing committee reports. Alderman Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in recess.
going downhill,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he never looked as. Not that he was ever speedy, but he never looked.
He wasn't healthy.
Yeah, when I saw him last, he just looked like he had lost a step, and that was a while ago.
Yeah, and he lost a lot of weight.
Has he?
Yeah, earlier this year I saw him, and he didn't look good. Oh, where'd you
I was so gonna
Oh,
say
you
that.
got it there. All right.
All right, the Administration and Finance Committee will come to order. We have item 9 on our agenda, which is a joint referral with the Administration and Finance and Public Works Committees. And I can take this mask off since I'm talking, so that's wonderful. Item 9 is a resolution to authorize the Director of Public Works to sign an agreement for professional services with Short Elliott Hendrickson Incorporated for engineering consultation services related to updating cellular equipment towers on various projects associated with both the 116 and 84th Street water towers.
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion from Alderman Lysick and a second from Alderman Tenorio. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Alderman Weigel.
I see some interested parties in the gallery here. Just want to make sure they're in the right room.
Sure, yeah, what are you folks
If
here
you're here for license and health stuff? Oh, okay. Okay, I just wanted to make, because
You're certainly welcome
it's
to
happened in the
stay.
past. Yeah, it's free. We've had some issues in the past where people sat through a meeting here when they meant to be in a different room. I just wanted to make sure everybody's in the right room, so,
Yeah, thank you, Alderman Weigel.
yeah, thank you.
Item 10 is a resolution to adopt the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin Water Utility Rate and Rule.
Move approval.
A motion from Alderman Weigel, a second from Alderman Tenorio. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And then item 11 is an ordinance to authorize discretion in imposing certain fees. Yeah, what does this mean?
Second.
We have a motion from Alderwoman Keene and a second from Alderman Weigel, and...
Was not me.
Or Alderman, what is it? Me. For Alderman Lysick? Okay, thank you. Alderman, not me, yeah. Sorry, Alderman Lysick. Yes, who would like to tell us about this, please? Ms. Grill, thank you.
Be imposing.
Mr. Chair, during the COVID pandemic, we've been trying to work with businesses to help them mitigate the issues and the closures and things like that. And so there's some capacity for the Director of Building Inspection to waive fees in certain situations that wasn't available to other departments. So this expands that to when it's not a state required fund or fee, when it's not a state fee or something like that, in certain circumstances, mostly extenuating circumstances, there's discretion to waive the fees.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Alderman Weigel.
I'm just curious, Ms. Grill, what exactly, could you just give, we don't need any names, but the type of business maybe that we're talking about, what the fee is?
It had to do with tents. Basically, building inspection charges a fee. Maybe Ed can explain a little bit more.
Mr. Lisinski, who looks like he's been working at the polls for the last
You've got the mask
time.
on,
Yeah.
wearing a mask 21 hours yesterday. But Ed Lisinski, Director of Building Inspection Neighborhood Services. So where this came up was with the tents, like we mentioned. We found that building inspection, we actually charge $150 for small tents. Fire department charges $30 for larger tents, which just seems ridiculously backwards. In our fee schedule, we have the ability to reduce and waive fees. So I was willing just to waive fees. It was actually brought up, why don't we just waive all the fees for this? Because $30, even if we get 10 tents go up this year, whatever. But then we kind of found that fire department didn't have that ability. So I mean, we use that for other things. You know, sometimes homeowners step into odd situations where, you know, somebody did work before that, and it's not worth it to charge them full permit amounts or triple fees and things like that we normally would. So that's where we use it in building inspection. So it's odd, case by case, very situational type situations that we'd like to extend to other people, I guess other departments, to have that ability as well.
So Ben's has had this, and now you're going to let the fire department, potentially other, I don't know,
Yep.
health department or somebody else.
Yep, development, health department, yep, other people who charge fees. And again, it's in there where if it's a state mandated fee, a federal mandated fee, obviously we have to pay those. It's just our own local fees that we give the department heads a little bit of flexibility in coming up with appropriate fees for different situations.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, and yeah, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 12 is a resolution to authorize the transfer of $10,000 from the sanitation salary and wages account to sanitation operational supplies.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Alderman Weigel. Thank you, Alderman Weigel. And a second from Alderman Tenorio. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And item 13 is a resolution to consider an obligation of repayment to the Health and Urban Development regarding Community Development Block Grant Program.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion from Alderman Lysick and a second from Alderman Weigel. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 14, a resolution to approve a storefront improvement program grant contract by and between the City of West Allis and Tupar LLC.
Move for approval.
We have a motion from Alderwoman Keene and is there a second?
Second.
A second from Alderman Tenorio. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And then item 15 is a communication from the city administrator recommending the appointment of Jason Kazmarek for the position of Finance Director Comptroller.
Move for approval and place on file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. You're almost there, Jason. We still have to go through the entire council, but I feel good about it. And item 16 is a resolution relative to the approval of the employment contract for the position of Finance Director and Comptroller for Jason Kazmarek.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 17 is a 2017 to 2021 strategic plan update. And is it more than just changing 2020 and making it 2021? Removing the 0, replacing it with a 1?
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Grill.
The information that's in this update was actually part of the 2021 recommended budget. It's just a listing of all the things that were accomplished in 2020 relating to the strategic plan. So it's a little more than changing a number.
Thank you. I thought that it was. Yes. Thank you.
Move for approval and place on file.
We have a motion from Alderman Lysick
Second.
and a second from Alderman Weigel. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And we have the notice of injury on item 18, which we can go into closed session for. I think I want to do the rest of our agenda first before we go into closed session. So we're going to hold that one for a second. And item 19 is a resolution to set the 2021 schedule of fees for the City of West Allis.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And then item 20 is the mayor's budget, and we're going to hold that. We have another administration finance meeting this coming Monday at 6 p.m., as we all know. And so that brings us back for the A&F portion to item 18. And I would suggest that we recess A&F until we complete safety and development, and then come back and then go into closed session at that point if nobody has any objection to that.
I move that we recess until conclusion of the safety and development meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks. We're in recess.
Safety and Development Committee will come to order. Item 24 on your agenda is a resolution to adopt the public participation strategy for the comprehensive plan updates.
Move approval.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 25 is a resolution to approve a second amendment to the development agreement by and between GG 003 LLC and the City of West Allis regarding the property located at 7030 West National and 15 Star South 71st Street.
Move approval.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
is this in relation to the winter construction costs? Or is there a major change in the plan there?
It's, I'll let
Yeah, I'm on
Mr.
the
Stiebel.
CDA, and I'm trying to remember. There's Mr.
It
Stiebel.
wasn't brought up
It
there.
was- Yeah, okay.
I
That
think it
makes
was
me feel
about,
better that I didn't remember.
It has to do with there's a 2019 property tax bill to be paid. And there's also $8,000 street assessment. The new prospective buyer will pay the street assessment, and the city will pay the property tax bill.
thank you.
And because the demolition that we did several years ago was put on the tax bill this year, we'll need to pay that $165,000 to the county for that demolition, and then they'll return the check then they'll pay it back to us. That authorizes us to make the payment. This is so it clears the closing, so it doesn't come up as a hindrance to the closing.
Oh, I see, so it's not there hanging over, okay. Thank
So
you.
all the back interest and penalties will be waived by the county tomorrow, and this is subject to that happening. If that doesn't happen, this doesn't happen.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 26 on your agenda is resolution relative to determination of an application for special use permit for the 414 Brewery Company located at 674951 West National. We had the hearing on it this evening.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 27 is a resolution relative to determination of an application for special use permit for Amerigraphics Group, a proposed manufacturing printing use to be located at 2213 South 54th Street. Again, we had the hearing earlier this evening.
Move for approval.
It's been moved and seconded for approval. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 28 is a resolution relative to determination of an application for special use permit for proposed mixed residential and commercial use located at 882533 West National.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for approval. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 29 is a resolution relative to determination of an application for a special use permit for Bamboo, a proposed tea and coffee shop to be located at 10708 West Oklahoma.
Move for approval.
It's been
Second.
moved and seconded for approval. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That's all that come before the committee this evening. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All right, and then Administration and Finance will come back to order, and I will read us into closed session. For Agenda Item 18, the committee may May convene in closed session pursuant to the provisions of Wisconsin statutes, section 19.851G, for the purpose of conferring with the city attorney who will render oral or written advice concerning the strategy to be adopted with respect to litigation in which the city is or is likely to become involved. The committee may reconvene in open session after the completion of the closed session to consider the balance of the agenda. Can I have a motion to go into closed session?
So move.
I have a motion from Alderman Lysick, and is there a second?
Second from Tenorio.
Second from Alderman Tenorio, thank you, and Alderman Lysick.
Aye.
Alderwoman Keene,
Aye.
and Alderman Weigel,
Aye.
and Alderman Tenorio.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, and so we are in closed session.
Good evening. We'll call the Common Council back to order. I will ask our clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Grisham. Here. Haas.
Here.
Keen. Here. Lysick.
Here.
Ranky. Here. Rote.
Here.
Stefanski.
Here.
Tenorio.
Here.
10 present.
We have a quorum. We will begin with the Administration and Finance Committee. I will ask the clerk to read out that report.
The Administration and Finance Committee recommended the following. Approval of items 9 through 14. For item 15, approval and place on file. Item 16, approve. Item 17, approve and place on file. Items 18 and 19, approve. And item 20 was held.
I move approval of the committee report.
Thank you, Alderman Haas. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I will ask our clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke. Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski. Tenorio.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Next, we will have the Public Works Committee, and I'll ask the clerk to read out that report.
The Public Works Committee recommended the following. Approval of items 9 and 10 and 21, 22, and 23.
I move for approval in accordance of the committee report, Mayor Devine.
Thank you, Alderman Road. Is there any discussion on the Public Works Committee? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke. Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. And then next up, I will ask the clerk to read out the report from the Safety and Development Committee.
The Safety and Development Committee recommended the following. Approval of items 24 through 29.
Mayor Devine, I move for approval of the committee report.
Thank you, Alderman Lysick. Are there any questions or is there any discussion on the Safety and Development Committee report? Seeing none, I will ask our clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Thank you. And then next up is the License and Health Committee.
The License and Health Committee recommended the following. Adoption of item 30 as amended. The amendment was to change the date to December 7th, 2020. Hold items 31 and 32 and approve item 33.
We holding 32, 31 and 31 and 32, right? We holding it,
Yes.
okay?
Okay, is there any discussion? I'm sorry. You want to make the motion to approve, Chairman?
Yeah, I move for approval of the recommendations of the License and Health Committee members.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. And lastly, this evening, I will ask our clerk to read out the advisory committee.
The advisory committee recommended the confirmation of item 34.
Alderperson Reinke, would you like to move approval?
Mayor Devine, I move approval of the committee report.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the advisory committee? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we adjourn until our next regularly scheduled meeting, Tuesday, November 17th at 7 PM.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.